Hey YouTube, it's True Champion Caven here, and I just won Ascent Seattle first place. We're gonna cover the deck that I used to take it all down. Let's get right into it. First off, we have our Sabrina Spirit of Water. You don't need this version, you just need a Spirit of Water, draw 7 cards, 15 health. That's the basic version that you need if you're newer to the game. This is just a fancy card that shamelessly is for sale. No shame about this self-plug here. If you want to buy this version that I won in Ascent Singapore and use to win Ascent Seattle, feel free to DM me on Discord. Next up, we have Dao Chen Enchantress. So this is one of the new champions from HVN. Really busted card for sure. This lets you basically free play some cards from your memory on your opponent's turn. Very strong effect that is new to the game. We have Backup Charger. Again, you don't need this version. You just need a normal Backup Charger from MRC. We have Censor of Restful Peace. This turns off all abilities in the graveyard, similar or such as Floating Memory and stuff. This is another new card from HVN. We have the 5 out of 5 Grand Crusader's Ring. Always slaps. We have Nullifying Lantern. This is another graveyard hate card. So we have Censor to turn off Floating Memory and abilities. We have Lantern to turn off the color of the graveyard. So very good. You'll see me use this on stream against, Fire Aggro Xander in the first round of top 8. Great card. We have Nullifying Mirror. This is memory hate, so you can turn off the color of memory for your opponent. So this can be really great against Veiling Breeze, Prismatic Edge, Luxem, Blinding Steel, all that kind of stuff. Every single card in our material deck did come up during the tournament. We have Safeguard Amulet, probably the best card in the material deck right now, with specifically this deck running around. And just, I think I probably brought out Safeguard Amulet nearly every match. So prevents non-attack damage, huge defensive card. We have Scepter of Fascination. This is our only other 1-cost card in the deck other than our level 1 champion. Really great to just draw a card if you have an extra floating memory, or using its effect to be able to repeat your champion's ability is also fantastic. Use this card a ton during the event. We have Terrafring, another defensive card for those ally decks. We have Viridian Protective Trinket in the main. We did figure there was going to be a lot of water in the event. Going forward, since there is, water did win this Ascent, there's probably going to be a lot of water in the format. Viridian Trinket is one of those cards that you're going to want to have somewhere in your list. Then we have Crystalline Mirror. Since we are on that Cleric, we can use this to pop cards such as Safeguard Amulet. So very good card there. So that is the material deck. We're going to jump into the main deck next, but real quickly, I just want to plug our Patreon. So if you want a more advanced deep dive kind of video on this list, we're going to be covering tips and tricks, possible cards that we would change from this list now that the meta is going to be a little bit different, now that everyone's expecting this list and you might see more mirrors and all that kind of stuff. This deck profile for YouTube is a little bit more generic, kind of geared towards more people that just weren't at Ascent Seattle, might be getting newer into the game, explaining how this deck works on the surface level, getting the basics of it. But if you want more of if you want to pilot this deck to a better skill level, come check out our Patreon. We have a free trial open, so you can check it out risk-free, and you can go get the best tips and tricks from some of the best players in Grand Archive. Also, feel free to go check out dragonshield.com. If you use code TRUE5, you'll get 5% off your order, and you can use those to get the sleeves that we use. We like the non-glare black matte sleeves from Dragon Shield. They always slap. It is our standard sleeve that me, Isaac, and Terry use in every single event. So go save yourself some money and help support the channel. Let's get into the main deck. So first card that we're going to talk about, and I did kind of group these to be similar cards, is Awakened Deacon. This is a 2-drop, 1/3 ally automaton. The automaton part is important. You can use your power cell to boost this up to 3 attack. I did do that during the event. Doesn't come up as often, but important little tip there. Again, if you want more tips like that, we are going to cover way more tips and tricks over on our Patreon. So this is mainly in here though as a 2-drop, 1/3 that has intercept if you have 2 or more Phantasias. You almost always have 2 or more Phantasias, so this is basically just a better stalwart shield mate for the deck. The floating memory is class bonus, which is unfortunate, but that extra health that it provides and also the extra attack stat does come up a lot. This is a fantastic defensive card against any fast decks. Then we have 4 Fast Cure. I'm not going to spend too much time on this card. Heals you, generic float, does everything you want. Your influence is really low because you have fractals, so almost always is popping off. Then we have Way of Peace, Grand Archive's Pot of Greed. This card is insane. super flexible. You're pretty much only ever going to use the draw 2 cards or the recover 4 effect Very easy to get online in this deck. This is one of the best cards in the deck, and you're going to hear me say that a lot because there are a lot of best cards in this deck. Then we have 4 Fracturize. So the reason I said that you're not going to use that Power Cell on the Deacon too often is because usually you're going to be fracturizing your Power Cell, cheating into play a new fractal, a new reservable fractal on your side of the board. This is obviously a staple in water in pretty much every single deck, so again, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. This is one of the best water cards that exist in Grand Archive, and it has great synergy with our deck. This is the only 1-drop fractal in the game. We would run more 1-drop fractals in the game if they existed. This is also somehow a broken 1-drop fractal in the game. It gives you everything you want. It's a reservable fractal as long as you have 2 other fractals, which is easy to, or Phantasias, which is very easy to set up. Gives you a Glimpse 4, which is absolutely insane. I would run this card if it had Glimpse 1. Yeah, just very, very busted. And then the next fractals that we're going to talk about, I'm not going to spend too much time on because they're all just 2-drop fractals. We're running every 2-drop fractal we could run, so that's why they're in the deck. So you have 4 Fractal of Snow, you have 4 Fractal of Insight, and you have 4 Fractal of Rain, which is one of the other best water cards in the game right now for water. But honestly, you don't even really use this the way that other decks use this. You're just running this because it's a 2-drop fractal. All 3 of these fractals have effects. They do come up, but honestly, most of the time that you are playing these cards, you are just paying 2, putting it on the board, and then using it to play another fractal. So again, we would run, oh, there is one more 2-cost fractal. This is one that people definitely had different counts on. Not everyone was running this one. It does come in hindered, so it's not as good as the other 2-drop fractals, but this effect is the most relevant. You can use this to destroy things such as Safeguard Amulet and a bunch of other items on the board. So this is a really, really good card. Again, it's a 2-drop fractal, so that alone is basically good enough for us to run. And let's get into a couple more fractals. So the 3-drop fractals, we're not running all of them. The only 2-drop fractal that we aren't running is Deep Sea Fractal. That's because it comes in hindered and it has the chance at giving your opponent a huge buff. It mills each player 1 card. And so giving your opponent either a floating memory right away or a fire card and drop for them to kill you faster, that felt a little too rough, so that's the only 2-drop fractal that we didn't run. We chose to not run a lot of the 3-drop fractals. The only one that we ran was 3 Fractal of Refreshments. This being able to filter away cards is really fantastic. You're usually not using the on enter for more than like 1 card, honestly. And that's just something that you have to gauge and see, you know, does this card just not feel good in this matchup? Let's bottom deck it, get a new one. But you're mainly just, this is in here because you just want a lot of fractals in the deck, guys. That is we had one of the highest fractal counts in the room at Ascent Chicago, or Ascent Seattle. And I do think that was important, and it led to a lot of consistency. Ascent Chicago, that never happened, right? 3 Fractal of Intrusions. Another one of the best 3-drop fractals in my opinion. This card felt absolutely insane. One of the best cards in the deck. Not many people were on this in the room. This card won me so many games. I can't believe how good this card was. Another similar card to Fractal of Intrusion is Extricating Touch. This is a new card from the HVN set, and it is very similar to Intrusion. You get to discard a card from your opponent. So the biggest difference is this does not rely on you having floating memory, and this can also choose hand or memory, which is a big, big deal. There's a lot of timing things to talk about with this card. We're gonna definitely deep dive this in the Patreon video. For the simple explanation, this is essentially a Fractal of Intrusion that is easier to pull off, but doesn't keep a Fractal on board. And so that's the reason that we're on more Intrusion than more Extricating Touch, simply because we really, really like Fractals in this deck. Then we have 2 Frostbind. This is essentially in here to help counter like aggro decks. You know, you want to be able to, this is a deck that can play aggro, it can play tempo, it can kind of play control. And so Frostbind finds its place in this deck because of that. Then we have the new better Frostbind, at least the new archetype specific better Frostbind. Glimmering Refusal. This card is absolutely crazy. So this is exactly the same as Frostbind, except instead of forcing your opponent to pay 2, you force them to pay the amount of fractals on your board. And the reason that this is just so much better than Frostbind is very often in this deck, you will start with 1, 2, maybe even 3 fractals on turn 1. So pretty much almost at the same time that you're looking to play Frostbind, this will already make your opponent pay the same amount as Frostbind. Then when you get later into the stages of the game, I was doing some Glimmering Refusals for 8, 9 sometimes even, and your opponent just simply can't play that. So this eventually turned into an in cap where it was basically, you know, they didn't have a way to just naturally get out of it, except for it can target any card activation. This is, again, one of the best cards in the deck, absolutely unbelievable. Just completely shuts out your opponent sometimes. Then our last category of cards that we're going to talk about is your win con. This is how we're actually going to win with the deck. And every single one of these cards scales with how many fractals you have on board. And that's why we spent so much time going over why these fractals are so good, and that's why we put so many fractals into the deck. So for Shimmering Refraction, this is a reaction. That's one of the types of cards that you can play with your Dao Chen level 1. So you can play this on your opponent's turn. It'll deal damage of X to a target unit, where X is the amount of Phantasias you have. You know, all fractals are Phantasias in this deck. There are some cards that you can run that are a Phantasia and not a fractal. So this will scale with those. And then, yeah, if you activate it from your memory using Dao Chen, you can draw a card into your memory. So you can shoot something for like 5, 6 damage and just replace itself. Not even use a card to deal 5 or 6 damage. That's unheard of in Grand Archive. So one of the best cards in the deck for sure, again. Then we have Refracting Missiles. This is one of the best water cards in the game right now. This is in pretty much every single water list, and in this deck, it just scales so hard. Refracting Missiles is, again, similar to Shimmering Missiles. This won't scale with Phantasias, but we run only fractals in the deck, so it's always going to be doing the same amount as your Shimmering Refractions, except for actually +1 more, because it does say +1 on it. This is a very easy card to use in your opponent's end step. Deal some damage to them, use it to go into your level 1, and then use your Shimmering Refractions and such after that, or get that reduced cost for Burst Asunder, which is the next card we're going to talk about. So we basically have 12 kill cards in this deck. I only have 3 here. I'm just now realizing I put one of them in my trophy from Ascent Seattle. So there is supposed to be 4 Burst Asunder in this deck. There's just 3 on screen. But yeah, so this card is another reason why to run Cleric or Mage. It gets reduced down to a 2 cost, which is great. This is the slow speed in this deck. So your other 8 kill spells are fast speed, but they deal less damage. So this one you can sacrifice your fractals, which is your win con, but you deal 2 damage to target unit for each fractal, and then 2 extra damage from the Burst Asunder itself. So 2 plus 2 times X. Crazy card. You can easily do 30 plus damage with this. You can kill a Luxem player that has Spirit of Serene Fire, you know, to try to heal. You just go, nope, I'm just gonna shoot you for 25 straight up. You can kill Tony's with this at 30 health and all that stuff, right? This card is absolutely phenomenal, scales really well, is very easily shut off by Safeguard Amulet, and we'll talk about some of the ways to get around that in our Patreon video. But yeah, guys, so that is pretty much the deck. You have 12 kill spells, you have a ton of fractals that help facilitate your other cards in the deck to be broken, because everything scales with fractals pretty much. So I'll quickly cover the sideboard as well that we ran. 3 Disenchants. This was to destroy Phantasias. There were a lot of expected good decks with Phantasias to be at Seattle. And then this is another Destroy Phantasia card. Costs a little bit more in this deck, but it can be played at fast speed, which is really relevant for some matchups. We had 1 extra Awakened Deacon in here just because we had 3 in the main. This was for if you played against aggro. Bring this in, take out one of your slower cards. We had 1 Extricating Touch in the side. Basically, against Fractal decks, we would take out 4 Fast Cures and 3 Awakened Deacons, cards that were slower and didn't really have much relevant in the matchups. And we would bring in the 6 Phantasia Hate cards and 1 Extricating Touch. So just kind of an easy sideboard there, and that's the reason to have 1 Extricating Touch on the side. 2 Frostborn Paladins, just again, another anti-aggro card. And then 2 Song of Frost. Crazy good card, helped me in a lot of different matchups. I did bring this in the finals. I don't believe I played it, but I was very comfortable to have it in my deck in the finals. And then 3 Torpid Fractals. This is a 4 cost Fractals. We're getting crazy over here, but this can just lock down an ally from attacking. So because it's reservable, you basically pay 4 for this, which is a very, very high cost, but you essentially take a card from your hand, you put it on the board, but you can still use it to pay for other cards. So it's kind of like you didn't lose a card, but you do lock down one of your opponent's allies, so they kind of -1 to card. So yeah, really, really good list. I know the other True Champion Gaming members actually ran this in the main. I was the only one that didn't, and I think I could have avoided some losses if I ran it in the main. So really good card there, even though it has a very stupid name, Torpid Fractal. But yeah, guys, that is it. Hopefully this helps get you guys ready for this HVN meta and understand what happened at Ascent Chicago a little bit more, understand these new decks that are coming to light. So hopefully you guys enjoy the content. We appreciate everyone so much that comes up to us at events and tells us, like they love the YouTube channel, and it's just been so awesome to have such a great community supporting us and interacting with us the entire time. We love having you guys here. We love being content creators for Grand Archive. Just such a fantastic game. And yeah, we'll see you at the next event. Peace.